All is well, even if your mind says, no, it's not. Even if your body feels tight. Even if your life looks messy right now. Even if you are dealing with bills, stress, health worries, family problems, or a heavy sadness you don't know how to explain. All is well. That sentence can sound strange. It can even sound annoying. Because when you are tired, when you are scared, when you feel alone, the words all is well can feel like they are trying to cover up real pain. It can feel like someone is telling you to pretend. And you may think, if all is well, why does my heart feel like this? Why do I wake up with worry? Why does my mind keep running in circles? Why does life feel so hard sometimes? So let's be honest. The point is not to deny what you feel. The point is not to act like nothing is wrong. The point is not to fake a smile and force yourself to be positive. That kind of positivity is tiring. It can even make you feel worse because deep down you know you are not okay and you feel like you are failing at being okay. But there is another meaning behind all is well, a deeper meaning, a kinder meaning, a real meaning that does not fight your life, a meaning that can hold your pain without drowning in it, a meaning that can look at your problems and still stay soft inside, a meaning that can let you breathe again. When people say all is well from a calm place, they are not saying nothing bad ever happens. They are saying life is bigger than this moment. They are saying I can be here without falling apart. They are saying even if I don't understand it, life is still moving and I can move with it. They are saying I don't have to carry the whole world in my hands. Think about the moments when you felt peace for no clear reason. Maybe it was early in the morning. Maybe you looked at the sky. Maybe you heard a song. Maybe you were with someone you love. Maybe you were alone and for a second your mind got quiet. In that moment, did your life become perfect? Probably not. Your problems did not vanish. Your past did not change. The world did not stop. Yet something in you softened. Something in you let go. Something in you remembered how to be. That is what we are talking about. Universal peace is not a reward you get when your life finally becomes easy. It is not a prize at the end of a long road. It is not a special gift only a few people can have. It is something that is already here. It is something that can be felt even in the middle of noise, even in the middle of change, even in the middle of fear. It is not always loud, not always dramatic. Often it is simple, quiet, gentle, like a deep breath you forgot you could take. The reason many people cannot feel it is not because peace is far away. It is because their mind is always holding on to something, holding on to control, holding on to fear, holding on to the need to know what will happen next, holding on to the need to fix everything right now, holding on to the idea that I must stay alert or something will go wrong. And to be fair, this habit makes sense. Many of us learned it early. Maybe life was not safe. Maybe people let you down. Maybe you had to be strong too soon. Maybe you were punished for making mistakes. Maybe you were taught that relaxing is lazy, that rest is weakness, that trust is foolish. Maybe you learned that if you stop worrying, something bad will happen, as if worry is a kind of shield. But worry is not a shield. Worry is a weight, and it is a weight that steals your life 1 hour at a time. It steals your sleep. It steals your focus. It steals your joy. It steals the simple feeling of being okay in your own skin. Now imagine this. What if the path to peace is not more effort, but less fighting? What if the way to feel safe is not to control life harder, but to trust life more? What if all is well is not a lie, but a door to a different way of living, a way that is still responsible, still real, still awake, but not tight, not tense, not forced. Because there is a big difference between being aware and being afraid. There is a big difference between caring and controlling. There is a big difference between taking action and being in a panic. Peace does not make you passive. Peace does not make you careless. Peace makes you clear. Peace helps you see what matters. Peace helps you respond instead of react. Peace helps you act from a steady place, not from fear. So when you hear all is well, don't take it as a command. Take it as an invitation to look deeper, an invitation to see that you are not only your thoughts, you are not only your stress, you are not only your past, you are not only your problems, you are also the quiet space that can notice those things. You are also the part of you that can breathe through them. You are also the part of you that can trust again. Here is a simple truth that can change your whole inner life. You don't need to solve everything to feel peace. You don't need to understand everything to relax. You don't need to have all the answers to be okay right now. You just need to stop fighting the moment as if it is your enemy. Because the moment is not your enemy. The moment is just the moment. It is life showing up as it is. And when you meet it with trust, something starts to change. Not always outside at first, inside first. The tightness starts to loosen. The mind starts to slow down. The heart starts to feel held. And from that place, even your outside life begins to look different because you are looking from a different place. If you have been living in stress for a long time, peace can feel unfamiliar. It can even feel scary. You might think, if I relax, I will lose control. Or, if I stop worrying, I will miss something. Or, if I trust, I will get hurt. Those fears are real. They are learned. They come from pain. But they do not have to rule you forever. Trusting life does not mean you will never feel pain again. It means you stop adding extra pain on top of pain. It means you stop turning every hard moment into a story of doom. It means you stop making the future into a monster in your mind. It means you come back to the present, where life is actually happening and where peace can be found. All is well, not because everything is perfect, but because life is still here. You are still here. Breath is still here. Awareness is still here. And there is a deeper support under your life than your fear wants you to believe. The mind says, I have to hold it all. Peace says, you are held. So let's go deeper into this. Let's talk about what happens when you don't trust life. How it affects your mind, your body, and your daily choices. Not to blame you, not to judge you, but to understand. Because understanding creates space, and space is where peace begins. When you don't trust life, you live as if you are always one step away from trouble. Even if nothing bad is happening in that exact moment, your mind keeps looking for what could go wrong. You may sit in a quiet room, yet your thoughts are loud. You may be with people, yet you feel alone inside. You may have good things in your life, yet you cannot fully enjoy them because your mind is already in the next worry. This is what a lack of trust does. It pulls you out of the now. It pulls you away from your own center. It makes you live in a state of waiting, waiting for the next problem, waiting for the next fight, waiting for the next bad news. And the body listens to that waiting. The body takes it seriously. The body acts like danger is near, even when the danger is only a thought. So you feel tired. Not only I need sleep, tired, but my soul feels heavy, tired. You may notice your shoulders are tight without knowing why. You may notice your stomach feels uneasy. You may notice your jaws clenched. You may notice you breathe high in your chest, like you cannot fully take in air. These are not random. They are signs of a body that does not feel safe. And when the body does not feel safe, the mind becomes even more restless. The mind tries to fix safety by controlling the world. It makes lists. It plays scenes in your head. It repeats old conversations. It tries to predict what people will do. It tries to plan every move. It searches for the perfect answer. It says, if I can just figure it out, I will finally relax. But life cannot be fully controlled. People cannot be fully controlled. The future cannot be fully controlled. So the mind never finishes its job. It never feels done. It never feels like it can rest. And that is a painful way to live because you become a prisoner of your own need for certainty. Think of how many choices you make each day from fear without noticing. You might say yes when you want to say no because you fear rejection. You might hold back your truth because you fear conflict. You might stay in a job you hate because you fear change. You might stay in a relationship that does not feel good because you fear being alone. You might rush through life because you fear feeling your feelings if you slow down. This is the hidden cost of not trusting life. You don't just lose peace, you also lose your true self. You lose your natural flow. You lose the part of you that is simple and open. You lose the part of you that can enjoy small things. You lose the part of you that can love without fear. And the hardest part is that fear feels like logic. Fear feels like you are being smart. Fear says, I'm just being realistic. Fear says, I'm just preparing. Fear says, I'm just being careful. But often fear is not realism. Often fear is a habit, a strong habit, a habit that makes you see life through a dark lens. When you don't trust life, you start to believe that peace is not allowed. You start to believe you have to earn peace. You tell yourself, I'll relax when I finish this. Then you finish it, and the mind finds something else. You tell yourself, I'll be calm when things get better. Then things get better, and the mind finds another fear. You tell yourself, I'll be happy when I have more money, more time, more love, more success. Then you get one thing, and the mind moves the goal again. So peace becomes a moving target. It becomes a place you never arrive at. And deep down, you may feel like you are always chasing your own life, always behind, always catching up, always not enough. That is not just stressful, it is painful. Now here is something very important. Not trusting life does not only affect how you feel, it shapes what you notice, it shapes what you remember, it shapes what you believe is possible. When you are in a fearful state, you notice threat more than support. You notice what is missing more than what is present. You notice rejection more than acceptance. You notice problems more than solutions. You notice the one rude comment more than the 10 kind ones. You notice your mistakes more than your growth. You notice the bad news more than the quiet good that is happening in the background. This is not because you are bad or broken. This is how the mind works when it thinks it must survive. It is always scanning, always checking, always alert. But when you live in that state for too long, you start to think that your scanning is the truth. You start to think the world is mainly dangerous. You start to think people are mainly selfish. You start to think you are mainly alone. And then life feels heavy. You feel like you are carrying a burden, even if nobody can see it. You may even smile in public, but inside you feel tense. You may keep yourself busy to avoid the silence, because silence makes you feel the weight of everything you are holding. You might also notice that when you don't trust life, you can become harsh with yourself. Your inner voice can become a critic. It can say, you should have done more. You should be further by now. You are wasting time. You are not strong enough. You are failing. This inner voice is often trying to protect you. It thinks harshness will push you forward, but most of the time, harshness does not help. It drains you. It makes you afraid of your own mind. And when you are afraid inside, you look for comfort outside. You might scroll for hours. You might overeat. You might drink to numb out. You might chase quick pleasure. You might jump from one distraction to another, because being with yourself feels too heavy. This is why many people feel lost today. They are not truly resting, they are only escaping. The tragedy is that the peace you want is not far away. It's not hidden. It is not impossible. It is simply covered by tension, covered by fear, covered by the habit of gripping life too tightly. Imagine holding a rope with all your strength for hours. At first you can do it. You believe you must. But after a while, your hands burn, your arms shake, your whole body aches. And even if you keep holding, you are suffering. Now imagine someone tells you, you can let go a little. The rope is not the only thing keeping you safe. At first you might not believe them. You might say, if I let go, I'll fall. But what if you try? What if you soften your grip just a bit? What if you find out that the ground is still there? Not trusting life is like gripping the rope all day. Trusting life is not dropping everything and becoming careless. Trusting life is softening the grip. It is allowing support. It is remembering that you are not alone in this. Another cost of not trusting life is that it makes you impatient with the process of your own growth. Life has seasons. Some seasons are bright and easy. Some seasons are slow and dark. Some seasons are about building. Some seasons are about letting go. Some seasons are about healing. When you don't trust life, you judge your slow seasons. You try to force the next season. You try to rush the lesson. You try to skip the discomfort. But the parts of you that need healing cannot be rushed. The heart opens in its own time. The mind calms in its own time. The body learns safety in its own time. When you don't trust life, you fight the timing. When you fight the timing, you suffer more. It's also important to see that the need to control often comes from love. You want to protect your family. You want to protect your future. You want to protect your dream. You want to protect your heart. That is human. That is understandable. But control is not the same as care. Control is fear wearing the mask of care. Care is love with wisdom. Care can plan and still breathe. Care can act and still rest. Control cannot rest. Control always wants more proof. So here is the real stake. If you don't learn how to trust life and relax into peace, you will keep living with your nervous system on fire. You will keep losing your present moment. You will keep missing your own life as it happens. You will keep thinking peace is for later, while later never comes. And the longer you live like that, the more normal it feels. Stress becomes your normal. Worry becomes your normal. Tension becomes your normal. You may not even remember what it feels like to be calm without a reason. You may not remember what it feels like to be okay just because you are alive. But peace is not gone. It's not broken. It's not lost. It's just waiting under the noise. Now here is the good news. Trust is not something you either have or don't have. Trust is something you can practice. Relaxing is not something only lucky people can do. Relaxing is something you can learn. Universal peace is not a belief you must force. It is a place you can return to again and again in small ways. And when you start returning to it, something changes. Not because life becomes perfect overnight, but because you become less afraid of life, and that changes everything. So let's talk about the big idea. The big idea is simple, but it is powerful. Peace is not outside. Peace is inside. Peace is not a future reward. Peace is a present truth. And when you understand this, all is well starts to make sense in a new way. Most people think peace comes after life is fixed. They think peace comes after the money problem is solved, after the relationship is stable, after the health issue is gone, after the job feels safe, after the family drama ends, after the world becomes calmer. They believe peace is the result of perfect conditions. But that kind of peace is fragile, because life is always changing. Even if one problem ends, another challenge can appear. Even if things go well for a while, life can still surprise you. If your peace depends on outside conditions, you will always be at the mercy of the outside world. That is why so many people feel like peace is rare. They wait for calm days. They wait for quiet seasons. They wait for the moment when everything finally settles. But life does not settle forever. Life moves. Life flows. Life shifts. It is like weather. Some days are sunny. Some days are stormy. Some days are calm, some days are windy. If you tell yourself you can only feel okay when the weather is perfect, you will suffer a lot. The deeper truth is this: peace is not the weather. Peace is the sky. The sky does not fight the clouds. The sky does not panic when it storms. The sky does not need to control the wind. The sky is simply there, open, wide, holding everything without being harmed by it. Inside you, there is also a sky. There is a quiet space that can hold your thoughts, your feelings, your fears, your plans, your memories, your pain, without being destroyed by them. You may not notice it when you are stressed because stress is loud, but it is there. It has always been there. You have felt it before, even if you didn't name it. You might have felt it when you were deeply moved by music. You might have felt it when you were watching the ocean. You might have felt it when you held a sleeping child. You might have felt it when you looked at the stars and felt small in a good way. In those moments, your mind got quiet enough for you to feel the deeper peace underneath. This peace is not something you create by forcing your mind to be silent. Peace is something you remember when you stop pushing against life. Peace is what remains when you stop arguing with the moment. Now, this does not mean you will never feel sadness again. It does not mean you will never feel fear again. It does not mean you will never cry or get upset or feel confused. Spiritual peace is not the removal of human feelings. Spiritual peace is the space that holds human feelings with kindness. When you have inner peace, sadness can come and go like a wave, but it does not drown you. Fear can rise, but it does not control you. Anger can appear, but it does not burn you from the inside. You can feel things fully, but you are not trapped in them. This is what it means to relax into universal peace. You stop trying to push life away. You stop trying to make the present moment different before you allow yourself to breathe. You stop telling yourself, I can't be okay until this changes. You start saying, I can breathe right now, even as this is here. Many people misunderstand relaxing. They think relaxing means you stop caring. They think relaxing means you stop trying. They think relaxing means you become lazy or weak. But real relaxing is not weakness. It is strength. It takes courage to relax, because relaxing means you are willing to be with what is true. It means you are willing to feel life without running. It means you are willing to trust that you can handle the moment. Relaxing also means you stop fighting your own inner life. If you feel fear, you don't shame yourself for it. If you feel sadness, you don't call yourself broken. If you feel tired, you don't call yourself lazy. You start treating yourself like someone you love. And this kindness creates a feeling of safety inside you. Safety is the ground where peace grows. Trust is the bridge between stress and peace. Trust says, I don't have to know everything right now. Trust says, I can take one step at a time. Trust says, even if I don't understand life fully, life is still unfolding. Trust says, I can let life carry some of this. And here is something very simple but very deep. You are not meant to carry everything alone. You were never meant to. The idea that you must control everything is too heavy for a human being. It breaks the heart, it breaks the body, it breaks the mind. When you trust life, you begin to live in partnership with life instead of in a fight with life. You still make choices, you still take action, you still do your best, but you stop believing that the whole world depends on you. You stop believing that one mistake will ruin everything. You stop believing that you must be perfect to be safe. And then a new kind of peace appears. A peace that can exist even when the mind is not fully quiet. A peace that can exist even when you still have goals. A peace that can exist even when the day is busy. It is not a sleepy peace. It is an awake peace, a grounded peace, a peaceful strength. This is why all is well can be true in a deeper way, not because the outside world always looks good, but because you are learning to stand on the inside ground that does not shake so easily. When you return to that ground, you start to see your life differently. You start to see that many things you feared did not happen. You start to see that you survived things you thought would break you. You start to see that support has shown up before. You start to see that life has carried you through many moments already. You start to see that there is a quiet intelligence in life, a timing that you may not fully understand but can learn to respect. You might still ask, but what about real problems? What about pain? What about loss? What about failure? Yes, those things are real. Peace does not pretend they are not. Peace says, I can face them without losing myself. Peace says, I can grieve and still be held. Peace says, even in hard times, there is still something good inside me that cannot be taken away. The mind often wants peace to come from certainty. It wants a guarantee, it wants a promise that nothing bad will happen. But life does not give that kind of promise. Life gives something else. Life gives presence. Life gives strength. Life gives the ability to meet what comes. That is a different kind of safety. It is inner safety. When you build inner safety, you stop needing the world to be perfect. You stop needing people to always act the way you want. You stop needing every plan to go right. You stop needing to know the whole future. You become okay with the unknown because you trust the part of you that can handle the unknown. This is the start of real spiritual freedom. You stop being controlled by the changing world. You become rooted in the peace that is always available inside you. You begin to rest in that peace. You begin to relax into it. You begin to live from it. And slowly, without forcing it, you notice something. When you are peaceful inside, you make better choices. You speak with more care. You listen more deeply. You don't rush as much. You don't fight as much. You don't take everything personally. You don't panic as quickly. You become more patient with the timing of your life. You become more open to help. You become more grateful for small blessings. Peace is not only a feeling. Peace becomes a way of being. All is well, because even when life changes, you can come back to this. Even when fear visits, you can come back to this. Even when you don't have answers, you can come back to this. And each time you come back, you build trust. Each time you come back, the nervous system learns, I am safe right now. Each time you come back, the heart learns, I am supported. Each time you come back, the mind learns, I don't have to run. This is how universal peace becomes real in daily life, not through big dramatic moments, but through small returns, through choosing softness again, through choosing trust again, through choosing to relax, even a little, in the middle of a normal day. Life often feels like something happening to you. You wake up, you check your phone, you see messages, news, tasks, problems, and it can feel like the world is pushing you around. It can feel like you are reacting all day, reacting to people, reacting to deadlines, reacting to money, reacting to your own mood. And when things go wrong, it is easy to think, life is against me, or why is this happening to me, or what did I do to deserve this? But there is another way to understand life, a way that can bring you back into your own power without becoming hard or controlling. This is the mirror principle. Life often reflects your inner state, not in a simple, perfect way like a magic trick, but in a real way that you can notice if you pay attention. Think about a literal mirror for a moment. If you look into a mirror with a tense face, the mirror doesn't argue. It doesn't say, no, you're relaxed. It reflects what you show it. If you smile, it reflects a smile. If you frown, it reflects a frown. The mirror is not judging you. It is not punishing you. It is simply showing you what is being presented. In a similar way, life tends to reflect what is going on inside you, your beliefs, your expectations, your energy, your attention, your inner story. If you carry the belief, I'm not safe, you will notice danger more. You will interpret people's actions as threats more easily. You will assume the worst more often. And because you are on guard, you may speak and act in a guarded way, which then affects how people respond to you. The outside world begins to match your inside world. If you carry the belief people can't be trusted, you will look for signs that confirm it. Maybe someone replies late and your mind says, "See, they don't care." Maybe someone makes a mistake and your mind says, "See, I can't rely on anyone." You begin to live as if you are alone, and this can create distance in relationships, which then becomes proof of the belief. But the mirror principle works in the other direction too. If you carry a new belief, like "I can handle life," you begin to meet things differently. You breathe more, you speak more clearly, you take steps with less fear, you learn faster from mistakes, you ask for help without shame, and the outside starts responding to you in new ways because you are showing up in new ways. It's important to say this gently. This is not about blaming yourself for everything that happens. Some things are painful and unfair. Some things happen that you did not choose. Some things are the result of other people's actions. Some things are simply part of being human in an uncertain world. The mirror principle is not meant to shame you. It is meant to give you a way back to inner freedom. It is meant to show you where you still have power in how you meet life. Because even if you cannot control what happens, you can shape your relationship with what happens. You can shape the meaning you give it. You can shape the energy you carry through it. You can shape the way you speak to yourself while it's happening. And that is where trust becomes so important. Trust is like changing what you place in front of the mirror. When you start trusting life, you are not saying nothing bad exists. You are saying, "I choose to meet life with openness instead of tight fear." You are saying, "I'm willing to see support as well as challenge." You are saying, "I'm willing to relax my body and soften my heart, even if my mind still has doubts." When you do this, you start noticing something simple but powerful. The world feels different when you feel different. The same day can feel heavy or light depending on the state inside you. The same conversation can feel like an attack or a connection depending on what you believe. The same challenge can feel like a curse or a lesson depending on your inner attitude. So the mirror principle invites you to ask a question that can change everything. What am I carrying inside that keeps showing up outside? Not as blame, as awareness, as a doorway, as a way to stop repeating the same pain. For example, if your mind often says, "Nothing works for me," notice what life tends to reflect. You might stop trying too soon, you might avoid taking chances, you might focus on what fails and ignore what improves. The mirror then looks like nothing works. But what if you shift the inner message to something calmer, like "I can learn, I can grow, I can keep going step by step"? Then you start staying with things longer. You start making small changes. You start building momentum. The mirror starts to reflect progress. If your mind often says, "I'm behind in life," the mirror might show you constant pressure. You rush, you compare, you feel stressed even in good moments. But what if you shift the inner message to, "I'm on my path and my timing is okay"? Then you start breathing. You start focusing on what matters. You make better choices. You stop wasting energy on panic. The mirror starts to reflect more calm, more clarity, and often better results. So the mirror principle is not meant to make you afraid of your thoughts. It's meant to help you see that your inner world matters, that your beliefs are not just ideas in your head, they shape how you live. And when you change how you live, life changes too. This is why the phrase "all is well" is so powerful when it becomes real inside you. Because when you truly carry "all is well" as an inner truth, you stop feeding fear all day. You stop feeding the story that life is against you. You start feeding trust. And the mirror begins to reflect a life that feels more supportive, more guided, more gentle, even when it is still challenging. Now, this brings us to the first key. Trust changes what you notice. This is not just a nice idea, it's practical, because your attention is like a light. Whatever you shine it on grows bigger in your experience, and when you change that light, your whole world starts to look different. Your life is shaped by what you notice, not only by what happens, but by what your mind chooses to focus on. Because every day you could focus on 100 things. You could focus on what went wrong. You could focus on what went right. You could focus on what you fear. You could focus on what you love. You could focus on what is missing. You could focus on what you already have. And the mind, especially when it has been stressed for a long time, often chooses the negative automatically. It chooses it not because you want to suffer, but because the mind thinks suffering is safer than being surprised. It thinks, if I expect the worst, I won't be hurt. It thinks, if I stay alert, I can protect myself. But that habit makes the world feel darker than it is. Trust is the choice to notice something else. Trust is the choice to notice support as well as struggle. Trust is the choice to notice the small good that is already here. Trust is the choice to notice that you are still breathing, still standing, still moving forward. When you begin practicing trust, the outside world may not change immediately, but your experience of the outside world changes. And that matters because your experience is your life. If you are alive but always tense, you are not truly living. You are surviving. Trust helps you move from surviving to living. Here's a simple example. Two people can go through the same kind of day. Both wake up late, both have a busy schedule, both deal with unexpected problems. One person stays in fear. This day is ruined. I can't handle this. Everything is too much. The other person leans into trust. Okay, it's a messy morning. I'll take it step by step. I'll do what I can. The day is still busy for both people, but the inner experience is very different. One feels hunted, the other feels steady. Trust changes the meaning you give to things. If you don't trust life, delays feel like punishment. Mistakes feel like proof that you're failing. Criticism feels like danger. A slow season feels like a dead end. But if you trust life, delays can feel like protection. Mistakes can feel like learning. Criticism can feel like useful information. A slow season can feel like rest and healing. Trust also changes your body. When you trust, your breathing becomes deeper, your muscles soften, your nervous system calms down, you think more clearly, you make better choices, you stop acting like everything is an emergency. And this is one of the biggest hidden problems in modern life. Many people treat everything like an emergency. They rush even when there is no need. They worry even when there is no real danger. They live with an inner alarm that never turns off. Trust is like turning the alarm down, not because you stop caring, but because you stop panicking. You begin to see that most things can be handled. Most things can be solved one step at a time. Most things are not worth destroying your peace over. Now, at first, trust can feel unnatural. If you are used to worry, trust feels like a risk. Worry feels familiar. Worry feels like home, even though it hurts. Trust feels like stepping into a new place. You might not fully believe it, that's okay. Trust is not something you force. Trust is something you practice. A simple way to practice is to start noticing where life already supports you, not in big dramatic ways, but in small ways. The fact that you can breathe, the fact that you have water to drink, the fact that you have a phone, a bed, a place to sit, the fact that you have survived hard days before, the fact that the sun still rises, the fact that your heart is still beating without you controlling it. Even in tough times, there are signs of support. You might get a kind message at the right time. You might find the right words in a book. You might meet someone who helps you. You might get a chance you didn't expect. You might feel a small, calm moment that reminds you that peace is possible. Trust grows when you collect these signs, not because you are trying to prove life is perfect, but because you are training your mind to see the full picture. The full picture includes challenges and support. The full picture includes pain and help. The full picture includes struggle and grace. And when you start seeing the full picture, your heart relaxes, because the heart can handle truth. The heart suffers when it only sees fear. So trust changes what you notice, and what you notice changes your inner state, and your inner state changes how you act, and how you act changes what happens next. This is how trust becomes a real power in your life. Now, we move to the next key, which is very important. Letting go is not giving up. Many people think relaxing means they are losing, but real relaxing is not losing. It's returning to strength. Many people secretly believe that if they relax, they will fall apart. They believe that tension is what holds them together. They believe that worry is what keeps them responsible. They believe that control is what keeps them safe. So even when they are exhausted, they keep holding on. Even when they are overwhelmed, they keep pushing. Even when their body is begging for rest, they keep moving because they fear what will happen if they stop. But here's the truth. Holding on too tightly is often what makes you fall apart. Not relaxing is often what breaks you, because no human being is built to carry endless pressure without pause. The body can only stay in stress mode for so long before it starts to shut down. The mind can only run in circles for so long before it starts to feel hopeless. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is allowing life to breathe through you. Letting go is choosing not to fight what you cannot control. Letting go is dropping the extra weight you never needed to carry in the first place. There are two kinds of letting go. One kind is unhealthy. It's when you stop caring, stop trying, and shut down. That is not what we mean. The other kind is healthy and powerful. It's when you stop gripping, stop forcing, and stop trying to control every outcome. You still care, you still take action, but your action comes from calm, not panic. Think of the difference between rowing a boat with a steady rhythm and thrashing in the water in fear. Both look like movement, but one leads somewhere and the other wastes energy. When you live in control, you often thrash. When you live in trust, you row. Letting go means you stop needing the world to match your exact plan before you allow yourself to feel okay. You stop saying, "Life must go my way or I can't breathe." You start saying, "I can breathe now and I will handle what comes." This is especially important in spirituality because spiritual growth is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming true. And truth often includes uncertainty. Truth includes change. Truth includes not knowing. When you let go, you become okay with not knowing everything. You become okay with not having all the answers today. You become okay with taking the next step without seeing the whole staircase. And this is where many people get stuck. They want a guarantee before they relax. They want to know the outcome before they take the step. They want to know they won't get hurt before they open their heart. But life doesn't work like that. Life asks for trust. Not blind trust, not foolish trust, but a deep trust that says, even if I don't know the outcome, I will be okay. I will learn. I will grow. I will not abandon myself. Letting go also means releasing the idea that you must be strong all the time. Strength is not constant tension. Strength is flexibility. Strength is being able to soften and still stand. Strength is being able to feel and still move forward, and sometimes letting go looks like resting when your mind says you should keep pushing. Sometimes letting go looks like saying no when you usually say yes. Sometimes letting go looks like allowing yourself to cry instead of acting like you're fine. Sometimes letting go looks like forgiving yourself for being human. And yes, letting go can feel scary at first, because if you have been living in tight control, your nervous system has learned to see tension as safety. So when you start relaxing, the body may react, the mind may throw more thoughts at you, you may feel discomfort. That does not mean relaxing is wrong, it means your body is learning something new. You are teaching your system a new truth. I can be safe even when I soften. This is why simple physical relaxing is so spiritual. When you relax your shoulders, you are not only relaxing muscles, you are sending a message to your whole system. It's okay. When you relax your jaw, you are telling life, I'm not in a fight. When you breathe deeper, you are telling your mind, we have time. Letting go is like opening your hands. Imagine your hands are clenched tightly around something, maybe a plan, a fear, a person, a past mistake, a need for approval, a need to be right. When your hands are clenched, you cannot receive anything new. You cannot receive help. You cannot receive peace. You cannot receive guidance. Your hands are full of tension. When you open your hands, you are not losing everything. You are creating space, space to receive, space to breathe, space for life to move. This is why letting go is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is saying, I will do what I can, and I will let life do what it will. It is saying, I will show up and I will stop forcing. It is saying, I will take action and I will release the outcome. And something beautiful happens when you live like this. You start to notice that life often meets you when you soften. Solutions come when you stop forcing. People respond better when you're not tense. Your intuition becomes clearer when your mind is not yelling. You start hearing the quiet guidance that was always there but was covered by noise. This is what it means to relax into universal peace. It is not an idea. It is a practice, a daily choice, a small softening again and again until it becomes natural. And now we go into the next section because it's important to understand universal peace is always here. We just forget. Universal peace is not something far away. It is not locked behind perfect habits, perfect thoughts, or a perfect life. It is closer than your next breath. The reason it feels far is simple. The mind is loud and the body holds tension. When the mind is loud and the body is tight, peace feels hidden. Not because it left, but because you can't feel it through the noise. Think about how often your attention is pulled outward. Messages, news, tasks, opinions, comparisons, and constant little worries. The mind becomes like a room with too many people talking at once. In that room, even if there is a quiet person sitting in the corner, you won't hear them. The quiet person didn't leave. The room just got too loud. Inner peace is like that quiet presence. It's still there, but it gets covered. Many people imagine peace as a special high feeling, like being happy all the time or floating above life, but real peace is not like that. Real peace is simple. It is steady. It is the feeling of being okay in your own body. It is the feeling of not fighting the moment. It is the feeling of being present, even if you are tired, even if life is not perfect. A helpful way to understand this is the sky and clouds idea. Your thoughts, worries, fears, and emotions are like clouds. They move, they change shape, they come and go. Some clouds are light and quick, some are heavy and dark, but the sky remains. The sky holds all of it without being harmed by it. Universal peace is the sky. Your mind's noise is the clouds. When you forget this, you start believing the clouds are the whole truth. You believe your anxious thoughts are you. You believe your fear is a warning you must obey. You believe your sadness means something is wrong with your life. You believe your anger means life is unfair and you can't be okay. But these are clouds. They are experiences, not your identity. They are real, but they are not the whole of you. This is why spiritual peace can exist even when emotions are present. Peace is not the absence of emotion. Peace is the absence of inner war. Peace is when you stop turning emotions into enemies. You let them be and you stay with them without drowning. If you have ever watched a child cry, you know what this looks like. A child cries hard, and then after a while the crying slows. The child's body shakes, then relaxes. The child might even start playing again soon after. Children don't usually build long stories while they cry. They feel, they release, they move on. Adults often do the opposite. We feel a little fear, and then we add a story. This will never get better. We feel sadness, and we add a story. I'm broken. We feel stress, and we add a story. I can't handle this. Those stories are what block peace. Universal peace is what you feel when you stop feeding the stories, not by force, not by pretending, but by gently returning to what is real: breath, body, presence, and awareness. In that return, the mind doesn't need to win. The mind doesn't need to solve everything right now. The mind can relax because something deeper is holding you. You might ask, if peace is always here, why can't I feel it? A simple answer is, your system may have learned stress as a habit. Many people don't realize how long they have been living in survival mode. When survival mode becomes normal, calm can feel strange. Silence can feel uncomfortable. Rest can feel unsafe. Peace can feel like you are missing something. That's not because peace is wrong. It's because your body is trained to stay alert. So the path is not to chase a perfect mental state. The path is to remember peace in small moments. It is to build a relationship with calm again. It is to show your body gently and again that it is safe to soften. This is also why trust is so deeply connected to peace. Trust tells your nervous system, we don't have to fight life right now. Trust tells the mind, we don't have to control everything. Trust tells the heart, you can open a little. And each time you do this, peace becomes more available. Another way to say this is, peace is not something you add to your life. It's something you uncover, like wiping dust off a window. The window was always there. The light was always there. You are not creating light. You are removing what blocks it. And here's the gentle beauty of it. You don't have to remove everything at once. You don't have to become a different person overnight. You don't have to fix yourself to be worthy of peace. You can begin with a small softening right now, a deeper breath, a relaxed jaw, a slower pace in your chest, a simple thought like, maybe I can let this moment be what it is. When you begin to remember peace like this, you start to notice something. You start to notice that the world is still moving, but you don't have to move with panic. You start to notice that thoughts still come, but you don't have to chase them. You start to notice that emotions still rise, but you don't have to fear them. You start to notice that you can be a human being and still be held by something quiet and steady. That quiet steadiness is universal peace. It is not owned by any one person. It is not limited by your past. It is not blocked by your mistakes. It is not reserved for spiritual people. It is simply part of being alive. And when you return to it, even briefly, you remember what you are beneath the noise. Now, one more thing is important to understand. Even when you start practicing this, you may not feel calm right away. Peace grows with time. And that brings us to the next section. If you've been tense for years, you can't expect your system to relax in a few minutes. It would be nice if it worked that way, but most healing doesn't happen instantly. The mind wants quick results. The mind says, if I do this once, I should feel different. But the body learns through repetition. The nervous system learns through gentle, steady practice. This is why it's normal to feel a delay. You may start trying to trust life, and your mind still worries. You may start trying to relax, and your body still feels tight. You may start saying, all is well, and part of you still doubts it. That's not failure. That's just your system catching up. Think of it like walking into a room where music has been playing loud for hours. When you turn the music down, your ears may still ring for a bit. The sound doesn't disappear in 1 second. Your system needs time to adjust to the new volume. Stress works like that too. You have been living with loud inner noise. When you begin lowering it, the nervous system might still feel the old vibration for a while. This delay often makes people quit. They say, "This doesn't work for me," and they return to worry. They return to controlling. They return to panic. Because panic feels familiar. It feels like doing something. It feels like being responsible. But what if the real responsibility is staying steady? What if the real strength is staying with peace long enough for the system to learn it? When you begin practicing calm, you are training a new pattern. You are telling your mind and body a new story. I can be here without fear. At first, the old pattern fights back. The mind throws thoughts at you like, "Don't relax. You're forgetting something. Something bad will happen. This is too simple. This is not enough." These thoughts are like a test, not of your worth, but of your habit. They are the old program trying to stay in charge. If you can meet those thoughts with patience, something shifts. You start seeing the thoughts as noise, not commands. You start understanding that the mind can shout, but you don't have to obey. You can say, "I hear you," and still breathe. You can say, "Thank you for trying to protect me," and still soften your shoulders. You can say, "I don't need to fight you," and still return to trust. This is where many people misunderstand spirituality. They think spiritual growth means you will never have negative thoughts, but that is not realistic. Thoughts are part of being human. Spiritual growth means your relationship with thoughts changes. You stop letting thoughts rule your entire inner world. You stop treating every thought like a fact. You stop building your whole life around whatever the mind says at 2 a.m. Peace grows when you keep returning, not once, again and again. And the results are often subtle at first. You might not suddenly feel bliss. Instead, you might notice small changes. You might sleep a little better. You might breathe a little deeper. You might react less strongly to a problem. You might pause before you speak. You might feel a tiny space between a stressful event and your response. That tiny space is huge. That tiny space is freedom. That tiny space is the beginning of a new life. You might also notice that peace shows up in waves. One day you feel calm, the next day you feel anxious again. This can be discouraging if you think peace must be constant, but it's normal. Healing is not a straight line. It is more like learning to balance. You wobble, you fall a little, you steady yourself, you learn. Each time you return, you build the muscle of trust. And here is a key truth. Your progress is not measured by how often you feel calm. Your progress is measured by how quickly you return to calm. If you get stressed and stay stressed for 3 days, and then later you get stressed and return in a few hours, that's growth. If you used to panic and now you can breathe through the panic, that's growth. If you used to hate yourself for feeling anxious and now you can be kind to yourself, that's growth. So don't demand instant peace. Instead, commit to the practice of returning to breath, returning to softness, returning to the idea that life can be trusted step by step. Over time, your baseline changes. Calm becomes more familiar. Your nervous system stops treating life like a constant emergency. The mind becomes less dramatic. The heart becomes less guarded. You begin to live with more ease. And as your inner state changes, your life begins to reflect that too. You make clearer choices. You stop creating extra problems through fear. You stop pushing away support. You become more open to solutions. You become more patient, and patience itself changes outcomes. You become less rushed, and less rushing reduces mistakes. Peace is not just a feeling. Peace becomes a way you move through life. Now, if you want a simple way to train this, there is a practice you can do every day. It doesn't require special words or long hours. It is simple, but it's powerful when done consistently. This brings us to the next section, the main exercise. This practice is not about forcing your mind to be quiet. It's not about pretending you have no problems. It's about giving your system a direct experience of trust. because trust is not only an idea. Trust is something your body needs to feel. You can do this practice anywhere, sitting on a chair, sitting on your bed, sitting in your car before you go inside, even standing for a moment in the bathroom. The point is not the place. The point is the shift you make inside. Start by making a simple choice. For 1 minute, you're not going to fight life. For 1 minute, you're not going to solve everything. For 1 minute, you're not going to argue with the moment. You're going to practice being held. Let your body become still, not stiff, just still. Feel where your body touches what supports it. If you're sitting, feel the chair under you. If you're lying down, feel the bed under you. If you're standing, feel the ground under your feet. This is more important than it seems. When you feel support, the nervous system begins to soften. You begin to remember that you are not floating in fear. You are here. You are held. Now take a slow breath in. Don't force it. Just let it be a little slower than usual. Then breathe out gently. As you breathe out, imagine you are letting something go. Not your responsibilities, not your goals, but the extra tension you've been carrying. Let the exhale be a soft release. Then, in a quiet voice or in your mind, say the words, "All is well." Say it slowly, not as a claim you must prove, but as a feeling you are learning to touch. If the mind argues, let it argue. You don't have to win. Just repeat it. All is well. Now ask a simple question. Where can I soften right now? Don't overthink it. Just scan your body gently. Notice your jaw. Is it tight? Let it loosen a little. Notice your shoulders. Are they lifted? Let them drop a little. Notice your belly. Is it hard? Let it soften. Notice your hands. Are they clenched? Let them open. This is not about being perfect. Even a small softening is enough. As you soften, say another simple line. Life, I trust you. Again, not as blind belief, but as practice. Life, I trust you. If that feels too big at first, you can start smaller. Life, I'm willing to trust you. Or life, help me trust you. The words matter less than the direction. You are turning your heart toward trust. Now for a few breaths, just stay with that. Feel what happens when you stop fighting. Even if nothing dramatic happens, notice if there is even a tiny shift, maybe a little more space in your chest, maybe a slightly calmer mind, maybe a softer face. That tiny shift is the practice working. What you're doing here is very important. You are teaching your system a new pattern: safety without control, peace without perfect conditions, calm without needing to know everything. This is how inner peace becomes real, not as a concept, but as a lived experience. At first, your mind may interrupt with thoughts like, "This is silly," or "This won't help," or "You have too much to do." That's normal. The mind has been trained to value stress. It thinks stress equals effort, and effort equals safety. But you are teaching it something deeper. Calm equals clarity, and clarity equals wise action. After you do this for 1 minute, you can return to your day, but return differently. Return with one small decision. Carry a little softness with you. Don't rush as hard. Don't clench as hard. Don't argue with life as much. If stress rises, you don't need to wait until night to practice again. You can take one breath and repeat, "All is well." You can ask, "Where can I soften?" You can whisper, "Life, I trust you." Over time, this becomes a new way of living. You stop needing a full breakdown to remember peace. You start returning before you crash. You start noticing the moment you tighten, and you soften sooner. You start noticing the moment your mind spirals, and you breathe sooner. You start noticing the moment you doubt life, and you choose trust sooner. This is how you relax into universal peace, not once, not as a perfect moment, but as a path of small returns, a path of gentle practice, a path of learning that you don't have to hold everything alone. And when you keep doing it, something changes quietly but deeply. You begin to feel that peace is not outside, peace is inside, and life, even with all its changes, can be trusted one step at a time. Trust becomes real when it shows up in ordinary life, not just in calm meditation moments, but in the middle of your day when things don't go as planned, because that's where most people lose peace. Not in the big dramatic events, but in the small daily moments that pile up. A late message, a sudden bill, a rude comment, a traffic jam, a mistake at work, a change of plans, a bad mood for no clear reason. These little moments can push you into stress quickly if your default state is fear. So what does trust look like in real life? Trust looks like meeting the moment without making it worse in your mind. Trust looks like choosing a calmer meaning. Trust looks like staying with your breath when the mind tries to run. Trust looks like softness in places where you used to tighten. When plans change, trust sounds like this. Okay, this is different than I expected. I don't have to panic. I can adjust. The mind often wants to react with, why does this always happen? Or this ruins everything. But trust says, maybe this is saving me from something. Maybe this is guiding me. Maybe this is simply life moving and I can move with it. Trust doesn't demand that everything goes perfectly. Trust says, even if it's messy, I can still handle it. When you feel behind in life, trust sounds like this. One step is enough. Many people suffer because they think they must fix their whole life in one day. They look at a big goal and feel overwhelmed. They look at other people and compare. They look at their own past and feel regret. Trust brings you back into the present. Trust says, I only need to do what I can today. If you take one small step, you are moving. If you breathe and keep going, you are growing. Peace comes when you stop treating life like a race you are losing. When fear comes, trust sounds like this. I can breathe and be here. Fear often comes with a story. It says, something bad is going to happen, or you're not safe, or you're going to fail. Trust does not fight fear with violence. Trust meets fear with calm. Trust says, I see you, I feel you, and I don't need to follow you into panic. You can let fear exist without letting it drive. You can let fear be a visitor, not a ruler. When money worries show up, trust doesn't mean you ignore bills. Trust means you stop letting bills become your identity. You don't say, I'm doomed. You say, I'll face this with a clear head. Trust looks like taking practical steps without shame. It looks like budgeting without self-hate. It looks like asking for help if you need it. It looks like choosing calm so you can think better. Because panic doesn't pay bills. Clear action does. When you make a mistake, trust sounds like this. I can learn from this. The ego wants to turn mistakes into a label. I'm a failure. Trust turns mistakes into feedback. I'm human and I can improve. When you trust life, you trust that mistakes are not the end. They are part of learning. They do not have to destroy your peace. They can even deepen your wisdom if you meet them with honesty instead of shame. When someone disappoints you, trust does not mean you accept bad behavior. Trust means you don't poison yourself with endless anger. Trust means you tell the truth, set boundaries if needed, and release the need to control the other person's mind. You can care and still let go. You can love and still protect your peace. Trust means you stop making someone else's actions the center of your inner world. When you feel low for no reason, trust sounds like this. This is a season. I don't have to force happiness. Many people fear low moods because they think it means something is wrong. But sometimes your body is tired. Sometimes your heart needs rest. Sometimes you are processing life quietly. Trust means you don't attack yourself for being human. You give yourself kindness. You slow down, you breathe, you let the wave move through without turning it into a disaster story. When you don't get the result you wanted, trust sounds like this. Maybe this is not a no. Maybe this is not yet. Maybe this is redirection. Not everything you want will come in the way you expect. Sometimes what you want comes through a different door. Sometimes a closed door is a protection. Sometimes the timing needs to change. Trust doesn't make you passive, but it helps you stay open. It helps you keep moving without breaking inside. When you are overwhelmed, trust looks like pausing, even for 10 seconds. One slow breath, a relaxed jaw, a softer belly, a gentle reminder, all is well. I am here. I can do one thing at a time. People often think they don't have time to pause, but the truth is you don't have time not to. A short pause can save you from hours of stress. Trust shows up as tiny choices like these. It shows up in how you speak to yourself. It shows up in how you breathe. It shows up in how you interpret things. And as you do this again and again, something shifts. Peace stops being rare. It becomes more normal. It becomes a home you return to instead of a place you only visit when life is quiet. Most people live in a cycle that keeps them stuck. It is a simple pattern, but it has strong power because it repeats. The cycle often starts like this. Something happens in life and you observe it. Maybe it's a problem, maybe it's a delay, maybe it's a conflict. Then the mind forms a meaning. This is bad. This is dangerous. This is proof that I can't trust life. Then the body tightens. Stress rises. You react from that stress. And your reaction creates more stress, more confusion, and often more problems. So the cycle becomes problem to fear, to reaction to more problems. And after a while, it feels like life is a constant battle. Even when good things happen, you're waiting for the next bad thing. Peace becomes fragile. The spiritual shift is to reverse the cycle. Instead of waiting for life to become peaceful before you relax first. Instead of waiting for certainty before you trust first. Not as blind faith, but as a chosen inner stance. You choose peace first, and then you read life from peace. This matters because your state shapes your sight. If you are afraid, you see life through fear. If you are calm, you see life through calm. The event might be the same, but the meaning changes, and meaning changes everything. Choosing peace first does not mean ignoring reality. It means you stop letting reality control your inner world. You look at the present moment and remember, this moment is partly shaped by the past, by past choices, past habits, and past fears. If you want a different tomorrow, you start with a different inner state today. You stop repeating the old pattern. So the new cycle looks like this. Breathe to soften, to trust, to take a clear step to notice what works, to confirm trust, to repeat. This is a quiet cycle, but it's powerful. First, you breathe. Not because breathing fixes everything, but because breathing brings you back to the present. It brings your nervous system down. It creates space. Second, you soften. You relax your body where you can. Shoulders, jaw, belly, hands. Softening is a way of telling your system, I'm not in danger right now. Even if life is still hard, you can reduce the extra inner fight. Third, you trust. You choose a thought that supports life instead of attacks life. Trust can be simple. I will handle this. I don't need to panic. One step at a time. All is well. You don't have to force yourself to believe something huge. You just choose something that opens you instead of closes you. Fourth, you take a clear step. This is important. Peace is not only sitting still. Peace is also wise action. But action from peace looks different than action from panic. Action from panic is rushed, messy, and often full of fear. Action from peace is simple, focused, and often more effective. It might be a phone call, a message, a plan, a boundary, a small task, one step. Fifth, you notice what works. This is where many people miss the miracle. When you are used to fear, you only notice what goes wrong. But when you choose peace, you begin to notice small signs that things are working. A small improvement, a kind reply, a solution you didn't see before, a chance meeting, a moment of calm. These things might look small, but they are the mirror responding. Sixth, you confirm trust. Instead of saying, "That was luck," you say, "See, life is supporting me," not in a fake way, but in a grounded way. You let yourself receive the evidence. You let yourself be encouraged. You let yourself build a new inner belief, maybe I can trust. Then you repeat the cycle again and again. This is how your inner world changes. And as your inner world changes, your outer life often begins to shift too, not always instantly, but steadily, because you stop creating extra chaos through fear. You stop pushing away help through distrust. You stop making choices from panic. You become more patient. You become more clear. You become more open. And those qualities tend to bring better outcomes in real life. This is why it's called relaxing into universal peace. You are not forcing peace. You are choosing the doorway to peace in each moment, even if the doorway is small, even if you only open it a little. Over time, the doorway becomes wider, peace becomes more normal, trust becomes stronger, the mind becomes less dramatic, the heart becomes less guarded. And when you live like this, you begin to feel something deeply healing. Life is not your enemy. Life is your teacher. Life is your path. Life is your partner. You don't have to fight the river. You can learn to flow with it while still steering your boat with wisdom. All is well as you trust life and relax into universal peace. Not because every moment is easy, but because you are learning to meet life with an open heart instead of a clenched fist. You are learning to stop turning every challenge into a personal threat. You are learning to stop carrying the whole world alone. You are learning to breathe again. Peace is not outside. Peace is inside. And the more you return to it, the more real it becomes. Trust is not something you wait to feel one day. Trust is something you practice now, in small moments, in ordinary moments, in moments when you want to react but you choose to pause, in moments when you want to panic but you choose to breathe, in moments when you want to control but you choose to soften. Remember the mirror principle. Life often reflects your inner state. When you meet life with fear, you notice more fear. When you meet life with trust, you begin to notice support. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect. It means your relationship with life becomes healthier. And that relationship shapes everything. So keep it simple, keep it gentle. If you remember nothing else, remember this. You can return to peace right now, not by solving everything, but by softening. By breathing, by giving your body a moment of safety, by choosing a new inner message. And try the practice again today. Sit still for 1 minute. Feel what supports you. Breathe slowly. Say, "All is well." Ask, "Where can I soften?" Then say, "Life, I trust you." Let those words become a living feeling, not just a sentence. Let them be your way back. If you want, write in the comments, where in your life do you want to trust more? And what is one small way you can soften today? If this message helped you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs peace right now. The deepest change happens when peace stops being something you chase and becomes something you live from. When you live from peace, you don't need perfect days to feel okay. You don't need the world to agree with you. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need the future to be certain. You become steady inside, and that steadiness becomes your strength. Life will still move. People will still change. Plans will still shift. Some days will still be hard, but you will not have to be hard inside. You can be soft and strong at the same time. You can feel deeply and still be stable. You can care and still let go. You can act and still relax. Trust life. Not because you have proof of every outcome, but because you have proof of your ability to return. You have returned from hard moments before. You have survived. You have learned. You are still here. And you can keep returning, one breath, one softening, one quiet choice at a time, until peace feels like home.